This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Tomorrow night, Friday, January 31, 2020, 1 hour before midnight, it is done. Brexit has occurred. The UK will have left the EU. It is most certainly an historical event, and Brexit said exactly that on January 30. History made. But then they go on to state the following. Brexit party leader Nigel Farage celebrated the UK's divorce, and of the deal he said, "This Friday marks the point of no return. Once we have left, we are never coming back. We are going, we will be gone." Interesting to me, he might have said more than he intended, because the UK, as we know it, might be gone also pretty soon. Now, the BBC News wrote on January 30 about the changes coming with Brexit. First, they point out that the UK will immediately enter an 11-month transition period. And during the transition, the UK will continue, now listen to this carefully, to obey EU rules and to pay money to the EU. Now, those who are for Brexit most certainly won't like that. It also says that the UK's 73 MEPs will automatically lose their seats in the European Parliament. The UK will leave all of the EU's political institutions and agencies. However, the European Court of Justice will continue to have the final say over legal disputes. And British ministers will no longer be able to attend regular EU meetings that decide things such as fishing limits and other things, which of course are important for the UK, but they have no say in it anymore. The UK, the article says, will be able to start talking to countries around the world about setting new rules for buying and selling goods and services. It has not been allowed to hold formal trade negotiations with countries like the US and Australia while it remains an EU member. All EU members have to uniformly and unanimously agree to these kind of trade agreements. But the article also says that if any trade deals are reached, they will not be able to start until the transition period ends. And the EU has already said that they don't like at all the thought that the UK will start trade negotiations with the US. It says that UK nationals will still be treated the same as EU nationals regarding transportation by plane, by train, by bus, by car, but only during the transition. It also says that UK nationals will still be able to live and work in the EU, and the same goes for EU nationals wanting to live and work in the UK, but only during the transition, which is supposed to end by the end of 2020, unless it's extended. But Boris Johnson already has said, no, we are not going to extend it. That is going to be it. And it's not going to be smooth sailing. The Associated Press wrote on January 24 that the Scottish National Party said the UK was in a constitutional crisis because the legislatures in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland did not back the Brexit deal and the Brexit bill. And notice what also happened. The EU said the bloc's parliament would continue to scrutinize the way Britain implemented the divorce agreement. And not only that, the following article by The Independent, dated January 22, did raise more than just an eyebrow. It said, the UK's access to the single market will be weakened if it does not continue to sign up to EU rules after Brexit, Ursula von der Leyen has said. She warned of more distance between the UK and the EU if such a state of affairs came about. Her comments came as the Chancellor, Sajid Javid, said there was no point in leaving the EU unless the UK was going to ditch the Brussels rulebook. And of course, that's what they want to do. They want to ditch the Brussels rulebook. But it's going to be quite an interesting year because these negotiations will probably take a lot of time and a lot of space in articles, newspapers, magazines, and so on during this transition period. The relationship between the UK and the EU, which has never been that good, will deteriorate drastically and very speedily. How did it come about? The Guardian tried to explain some of it in an article dated January 26, saying this: among the many crises in British relations with the EU down the years, the beef war ranks among the biggest. It was March 29, 1996, and the European Commission had just announced a worldwide ban on the export of British beef. France and Germany had already imposed their own unilateral bans on British beef. UK ministers had announced that millions of cattle across the UK would have to be slaughtered. Throughout that spring and summer, the crisis widened. The right-wing tabloids were in full anti-EU cry. On May 21, 1996, the UK announced it would refuse to cooperate in EU meetings until further notice. British non-cooperation with Europe and its policies had become official policy. Non-cooperation quickly took relations between London and Brussels to a historical low. And then the article says this coming Friday, January 31, the UK will be out. Could it have worked? If so, was the EU or the UK, or were both, to blame? Or was it always doomed to failure? A multitude of reasons have been cited. The deep differences in post-war attitudes between the UK and its European partners, poor leadership in the EU and the UK, a constantly hostile British media, and sheer bad luck and timing. Also, Europe's total indifference towards what was going on in the UK has also been cited as one factor. But my friends, none of these factors really tell you why it happened. It had nothing to do with bad luck, with bad timing, with happenstance. It was preordained to happen. The EU-UK relationship and cooperation was doomed to failure. How can we say this? Because the Bible tells us so, has been telling us that for many decades, and we have pronounced it to you for many decades. The EU and the UK will never cooperate in a substantial way again. The relationship will become so hostile that ultimately a war will break out between these two powers. We have prepared two booklets: The Fall and Rise of Britain and America, and another one, Europe in Prophecy. And these booklets tell you why Brexit had to happen and what is going to occur in the very near future. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.